Hello again, everyone. Okay, I think that the first of the two anime videos isn't going to come up. I believe the three I talked about that I would definitely want to touch on one more time to make sure that they were covered is Inuyasha, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. That is what I definitely started with. I know that was not going to come up because that video probably isn't going to make it. And last but not least, Naruto. I'm going to spend a little more time on Naruto, because I like Naruto. So let's actually kick it off with Inuyasha. If you saw my last video, you saw me talking about Blue Exorcist, and now it's about this kid who's a half-demon, son of a devil, actually. Son of a devil, and also son of a human mother, so half-demon. However, this episode, the series I watched, Inuyasha, again, half-demon. The setup is basically this. The setup is he falls in love with a human girl, and he's half human, half demon, and he loves her so much that he tells her he'll use this thing that she has, the Shikon Jewel, to turn into a full human so that he can live happily ever after with her. Everything I just told you is not revealed until halfway through that series. The first thing you ever see in that series is actually Inuyasha, the half-demon, running away from Kikyo, the priestess. And you're like, oh, okay, so he's being chased by someone. And at this point you don't realize that just why. Anyway, the series goes on with Kagome traveling back in time to the feudal era, and Inuyasha has been pinned up against a tree and stuck there for years, and when that happened, Kikyo dies and says she'll be like reincarnated or someday, and lo and behold, here comes Kagome years later back into the feudal era, and she sees Inuyasha tied to this tree, actually it's an arrow that's got him stuck to this tree, and she's like, oh, what's this about? And then suddenly she's back, so she is the reincarnation of Kikyo, as we all come to find out. And Inuyasha wakes up, and everyone thinks for the longest time that she's actually Kikyo, and she's not. But she might as well be the way that she's treated. But anyway, Inuyasha is mad at Kikyo for betraying him. And I'll explain that bit later. It's a little confusing, I know. So he wants to take the Shikon Jewel Shard now and go full demon. Go the other direction. He wants to become a full demon. However, later in the series you find out that it was all a trick set up by the real bad guy, another half-demon, Naraku. So no, Sesshomaru is not the actual bad guy in this series. In fact, he's one of the bad guy on good guys things. I'll talk all about that when I get to Kurama. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this other half demon named Naraku actually tricked. I don't remember which one came first, but he tricked Kikyo into thinking that Inuyasha was going to betray her, and by taking Inuyasha's form and betraying her, and then that got her to fire back at the real Inuyasha, and the real Inuyasha thinks she's betraying him, so they think they're betraying each other. So that's where the story actually comes around to begin, and when they find this out, they're like, oh my god. But by this point in time, Kikyo is already dead. We see her plenty of times as a reincarnation. But the whole thing becomes, you know, we've got to defeat Naraku so that he doesn't do stuff like this again, blah, 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 blah. And in the end, well, of course, she's the reincarnation of Kikyo, so Inuyasha falls for Kagome. Although, if I recall correctly, I don't think he ever goes full human. I think the Shikon Jewel is destroyed after they collect all the shards, and he stays half demon. Could be wrong there. But it's been a while since I last saw it. And the important thing to know if you watch that is there are two series. There's Inuyasha, and then there's Inuyasha the Final Act. The Final Act is only a couple episodes long. I didn't mention this in my last video, but I have to add this. I forgot the character's name. I know it starts with a. I'm pretty sure it starts as a K as well, but it's a wolf character. He's practically Jacob Black if Jacob Black was an anime character, because he too is after Kagome. He too falls in love with her, and it's a funny thing. But much like Edward and Jacob, they get along. They argue, but they get along at the same time. Alright, moving on. 2 more to go. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was the first anime I ever saw. It's got kind of a dark idea to it, but it is a great way to get started into anime. It was my first anime. I watched it complete. It's basically these 2 brothers, and its initial start is a bit dark. And that is that the boy's mother dies, and the 2 brothers try to resurrect their mom, because in that world they have alchemy where you can do pretty much anything. But and the title sequence always mentions it. There's a taboo amongst alchemists. You can never resurrect a human, because what could equal a human's life? Now, the important thing to note here is the law of equivalent exchange. If you've seen the series, you know what that's all about. You know, to gain something of equal or greater value must be lost. That is the rule of equivalent exchange. And yes, I did just quote the second, halfway through, the intro changes halfway through the series, and it changes to that. Well, the quote I just gave you. And sure enough, they try to resurrect their mother, and what ends up getting taken is Alphonse's body. Alphonse is the younger brother, and in order to save him, he does transmutation again. Not just alchemy, but transmutation, and he loses his arm. He loses his arm, but in return, that gives his brother a body. It allows him to seal his brother's soul to a thing of armor. And that's pretty much how they go through the whole series. They go through the whole series with the brother having a metal arm, and with Ed, the older brother, having a metal arm, and Al, the younger brother, just being a whole suit of armor that has a conscience. And there are actually episodes where Alphonse questions whether he's real or not. There's an episode where he thinks that his brother has actually tricked him into thinking he's a real being, but he's actually a robot. But because he holds some secret from his brother, and Winry, I'm just going to say she's a friend of the family, and Winry tells him, "You idiot! The reason the reason he's being so distant like this is because he blames himself for putting you in this metal body, and he's trying to do all he can to get you back into your body." And that's really what the series becomes. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm an idiot." And if you ever do see the follow-up movie, I'm not sure if it's considered canon or not, but it does show that Alphonse does get his body back. But there's a whole other layer to Fullmetal Alchemist that I haven't mentioned. Oh, and by the way, I'm talking about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, not Fullmetal Alchemist. The first series did not follow the manga at all, so I'm talking about Brotherhood, which directly followed the manga. Basically, there are these things called homunculi, And there are 7 of them, and they each represent one of the 7 deadly sins. Now, I don't remember all of them. I remember the 2 were greed and pride. Greed actually starts out bad, in quotation marks, and turns good in the end. Well, good enough anyway to help the Elrics, which are the 2 brothers. Then there is pride. There's pride and envy, actually. That's the other one I wanted to say earlier. Envy is, well, she's good. She's evil, then she temporarily helps Ed when he's trapped in one of the Gluttony's body, another one of the homunculi. They both get trapped there by accident. Well, what it is Ed gets trapped in there, and by accident, Envy is caught in the crossfire and swept up in there, so they have to work together to find a way out. There was actually a couple of funny episodes, and it gave me hope that maybe Envy was going to turn into a good guy like Greed does. Unfortunately, no such thing. But anyway, there's that, and then there's pride. There's not much to say about Gluttony, so I'm just going to skip him. Pride is the Fuhrer of... He is Fuhrer Bradley as well. Everyone loves the Fuhrer, everyone loves Fuhrer Bradley, blah, 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 until they find out that, turns out he's the head homunculi called Pride, and the whole place is a big transmutation circle to make one huge philosopher's stone, and he's going to kill everyone to do it, and it's like, oh my god. And that's what the whole thing, and the whole thing is when they find out what a philosopher's stone is, they're like, we can't do it. And turns out their father, their mother's dead, but the father is not. Their father actually has a philosopher's stone. So towards the end of the series, the father uses his philosopher's stone to restore his boys, something like that. And that, in a nutshell, is Inuyasha and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Naruto time. Now Naruto actually started out as a pretty good kid show. I mean, it was an anime, but it was funny. It was lighthearted. It was like, seriously, you could show the first episodes to your kids, and they would have a laugh. And it's even got some great values in it. It still has some great values in it, which I haven't seen these values in any of the other animes I've watched, honestly. So basically, it actually starts out with this demon. There are 9-tailed beasts, and the 9 tails actually attacks the village in the opening sequence to the first episode. And then it's revealed he's actually been sealed inside a baby, and that baby is Naruto, the series protagonist, and you don't hear that much about Kurama. I'm just a huge Kurama fan, but you don't hear that much about him in the first episode, in the first series. You do hear a lot about Naruto, about how he's teased because he has Kurama, the 9-tailed fox demon, locked inside of him. And he's always teased about this, but he has great dreams. He wants to be the best Hokage ever, the leader of the village, the leader of the Hidden Leaf, and he's always trying to be a hero. He's always trying his best. In the series, he's always failing, yet keep trying, and ultimately succeeding. And that's what Naruto is all about. And, you know, towards the end of the series, when Sasuke runs away, he chases after him. And there are a couple moments in this series where Kurama does make an appearance. The first is when he's training for the Chunin exams. He demands that the fox give him rent for living in his body, and for that he wants to use his chakra so that he can become more powerful. And he obliges and gives Naruto the chakra and I mean, You think that that's it, but that's not. No. Turns out that he's secretly, and you find this out in a later episode when you get like a backstory, the Kurama backstory at long last, way overdue, the real one. You find out that basically this whole time he's actually leaking chakra to undo the seal that keeps inside Naruto. Yeah. Interesting there. And basically what ends up happening is throughout the Naruto series, it's not as prominent in the Naruto series, but I'll get to it in Naruto Shippuden. Basically he fights the One-Tailed Shikaku, and it's Jinchuriki Gaara. Gaara, I'll get to that in a minute. Gaara is a bad guy in Naruto. He's a bad guy, okay? But Naruto was like, I'm like you, I took a different path, you can be like me, you can take a different path, you can be a good guy, and Gaara ultimately goes along with it, yeah. And that's pretty much the end of Naruto. Now Naruto Shippuden comes along and everything changes. Gaara's a friend, the Leaf is allies with the Sand. We're gonna come to a point where the Fourth Great Ninja War isn't all the villagers going against each other. It's them all working together to defeat one common enemy. I'll get to that in a minute. Basically, Kurama shows up a lot more in the Shippuden series. Naruto is constantly trained to control the Nine Tails chakra that is inside of him, but it's just not working. He's able to get up to 4 tails, but when he gets to the 4th tail, to use 4 out of the 9 tails, he can't get past that. He loses control. And this happens multiple times in this Shippuden series, once eventually leading him to harm one of his team members, Sakura, and that's when he's like, I'm never going to use this again, I'm never going to use my power again, I'm going to keep him sealed inside of me forever, and that's it. But lo and behold, the Pain, aka Nagato, that arc comes along, and Pain's attacking the village, and he tricks Naruto. I don't know if he tricks Naruto so much as eggs Naruto into basically starting to give up, just like his old self would in Naruto. But his older self just like, is there really any hope? Blah 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 blah. I'm starting to lose faith, and the Kurama takes advantage of this and actually takes over Naruto's body, nearly breaks free. He goes all the way up to 9 tails, which, if the 9 tails actually breaks free, that kills Naruto, because they're not on good terms. So of course, he's going to be killed right as the 9 tails comes out. So you got the 9 tails. The 9 tails fox hasn't actually fully come out yet. They're just 9 tails power, and Naruto ultimately can't control it, and Dad steps into play. Despite Dad and Mom both being dead, it turns out that he left a little bit of chakra within him that can talk to Naruto in his mind, and also, before he leaves, he actually is able to redo the seal that seals Kurama inside of him, and ta-da, Naruto's back. And then the Pain, of course, the Pain arc, of course, ends with him speaking to Pain, aka Nagato, about how he's going about things all the wrong way to take away the pain of the world. You have to understand the whole thing between Naruto and Nagato. Also both having Jirai Sensei as a sensei, and there's even further of that in the future. But that ends all happy, and everyone who is killed is amazingly resurrected. and it's as if none of it ever happened. Everyone remembers everything, but as the village isn't destroyed, no one's dead. Ta-da! And the only person who dies is Pain, and it's a sacrifice that he makes, so he's not truly a bad guy. So let's skip ahead a little bit. The Fourth Ninja War is getting ready to start. Naruto actually goes to train to get the Nine Tails power under control. And this is, he faces off against Kurama, the Nine Tails, inside of him. Like, he's met to Kurama many times inside of him before, but this time he actually unlocks the gate willingly, goes in there, and they take him to an area where it'll be contained if Kurama actually breaks free. But Naruto is able to successfully battle Kurama, is able to successfully take his chakra, or a large portion of it, and weaken him, and then seal him back up. And now Naruto has the Nine Tails chakra, hooray! It may not be the perfect thing yet, but the other thing I should note here is that it actually shows that the Eight Tails makes an appearance first, and the Eight Tails is actually revealed to have already befriended his Jinchuriki. The Eight Tails befriended his Jinchuriki. That was the moment where I knew, yes, Naruto is going to do the same thing with the Nine Tails. How? I guessed that Naruto was going to forgive him for what he did to the village and his parents years ago, and this was going to shock Kurama, and he was going to be like, maybe I should give this kid a chance. It didn't go that way. It actually went better than I thought. So anyway, he's got control of the Nine Tails chakra now, and at this point he doesn't know the Kurama's name. He still thinks it's just Nine Tails. And he still refers to him as the Nine Tails, and he speaks to the Nine Tails again after this. And by now the Nine Tails has his strength back, but Naruto is stronger too. So he's able to hold him in, and he talks to the Nine Tails, and the Nine Tails is like, do you really think you'll be able to get rid of all the hate in the world? And Naruto says, I don't know, and I'm going to try. And then he steps right up, right in the face of Kurama, and says, someday I'm going to take away your hatred too. And to which he's like, I am hate, you can't take away me. Well, he most certainly can. And I'm going to skip several episodes in to the middle of the war, and the Eight Tails makes a surprising discovery. He says, Naruto, you've been using so much chakra lately, the Nine Tails could have easily taken you over at any point. Like, mind blown. I was like, oh, so this is how they're going to do it. And sure enough, it shows, for the first time in several episodes, it shows the Nine Tails just sitting there, and just out of Naruto's mind, just doing nothing, just lying down. It's like he's not even trying anything. And Naruto was like, okay, maybe this is my chance. Maybe this is my chance to make friends with him. Could you give me a little more of your power? Because he's still very limited. So he does so, and then he starts getting eaten by the Four Tails, Son Goku, who is under the control of Madara Uchiha, and he gets eaten by the Four Tails, and he's like, come on, why didn't you give me any power there? Kurama was like, I don't bend at your every whim. And then he meets the actual Son Goku inside Son Goku. It's the whole mind in the mind deal. Just like when he fights Kurama inside his own mind. But anyway, he's able to talk to Son Goku, who's like, you actually care about tailed beasts? And Naruto was like, well, yeah. He's like, no, all humans are the same. And he's like, no, I'm not me. And Son Goku's like, okay, prove it. Free me. And he tells Naruto how to free the four-tailed beast from Madara Uchiha's grasp. Except when Naruto actually does it, he finds himself back in the Four Tails, and he says, what gives? And the Four Tails, Son Goku, is like, You actually did that? You actually tried to free me?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course I did. I never go back on my word. That's my ninja way." And sure enough, that is his ninja way. He says it all the time, starting in the Naruto series. "I never go back on my word. That's my ninja way." That's why he's not going to stop giving up, trying to bring Sasuke back. And, I won't say too much more along that lines. Sasuke's got a story of his own. But anyway, it ultimately comes down to Son Goku tells him the real way to set him free, because he didn't think Naruto was actually going to do it. And lo and behold, Kurama is watching all this, oh my god, maybe he actually does care about taking the hatred away from me and making me a good guy. So maybe he really can give us a chance. Obviously, he doesn't say it like that. He's a Ninetales, but we get this unique background of going back to when the Ninetales attacked the village. We see everything. We've seen a couple of this. By that point in time, we've seen it a couple of times from Naruto's father's and mother's point of views. But now we get to see it from Kurama's over a period of 2 episodes. And I mean, it's pretty much revealing that Monero Uchiha, this guy who can control tailed beasts, was actually controlling Kurama that night that he attacked the village. Not the whole time. Kurama gets mad when he's finally released from the control, so he does continue the attack on his own. Probably not the best action to take there, but that's what Naruto is for. So basically, Kurama says to Naruto, "Fine, I'll give you a little more of my power." And Naruto's like, "You're not gonna trick me." And then Kurama's like, "No, I'm serious this time. Take some of my power." And they do that, and they start working together really well over a couple episodes. And it comes to this one point where Naruto it looks, I don't know if he actually is or not, but it looks, he's got his head down, and it looks like he's actually thinking, maybe I won't become a Hokage, maybe I can't take the whole hate out of the world. And Kurama sees this, and for the first time he actually sticks up for Naruto, and he tells off Obito Uchiha, basically tell him off, saying, "No, this kid's too stubborn. If this kid can convince me to work with him, and if he can convince Pain to do all this, if he can do all the stuff that he's done, basically, he will succeed. And besides, he's got the power of the Ninetales on his side now." And this is shocking to everyone, including Naruto, because for the first time in the series, you actually see Kurama smile. And that's like the big turning point. And from that point on, they continue to grow together, and they start to act like partners, like Eight Tails and his Jinchuriki Kirby, and it really goes into this great thing about how all nine-tailed beasts have actually start working with their Jinchuriki, the ones that are resurrected, the ones that are still alive, the ones that break control from Madara. Gaara comes back into play. His One Tails had been taken away at the very beginning of Shippuden by the Akatsuki. If you watch the series, you'll find out who they are. Pain's one of them. Itachi Uchiha is one of them. But again, that's one of those cases where, is he really a bad guy, comes into play. There's a lot of that in this, where is he a bad guy? And the answer turns out to be no. It's the case with Kurama, it's the case with Sasuke Uchiha, it's the case with Itachi Uchiha, and the case with Kurama. But basically, where I'm at right now is I've read ahead. Like I know in the end of the manga, Naruto marries Hinata, not Sakura. Hinata. Honestly, I believe that was coming. And Sasuke marries Sakura. Yes, saw that coming too. because Sasuke is coming back. I also found out that there is going to be a second battle between Naruto and Sasuke. The first one was at the end of Naruto, the first series, and yes, he was using the Nine-Tails chakra in that. The second is going to be, again, him using the Nine-Tails chakra against him, but now that he's got the power, he'll be able to go into, like, Tail Beast mode and everything. But, I mean, where I'm at right now in the anime is, I'm caught up to the Japanese anime, and what's happened lately is all 9 of the tailed beasts have been captured, and it's interesting because over the past couple of episodes, they get you to care about the tailed beasts. They start by showing you the 8 Tails, who's already become great friends with his Jinchuriki. They reveal that the 1 Tails was always under control by Gaara, and Gaara now thinks of him as an equal in the past couple of episodes. He's like, the 1 Tails is shocked by this as well, because he was used. Gaara was powerful enough to use the 1 Tail in ways that Naruto couldn't use the 9 Tails, but Gaara actually says, now that we're back together, I can work, and now that I'm a different person, you and I can work alongside each other as equals. And this is just like one of the many cases of the Jinchuriki recognizing their tailed beasts as equals, and this is like the great moment. And then, of course, the bad moment comes along where Madara Uchiha absorbs all of them, including the 9 Tails, and like in the case of Gaara, the beast has already been extracted, like I said in the beginning of the Shippuden series. But with Naruto, the beast has never been extracted before. Now, just like when Gaara had to be saved by his Granny Chio, just like when he was saved and she sacrificed her life, now how are they going to save Naruto? That's my question. Because after the episode where the tailed beasts were captured, we got a wonderful little filler episode. Yeah, filler arc, I should say. Even worse. A filler episode's fine every now and again. But a filler arc, it's one where there are 2 more episodes set to air. And they are supposed to be back in the actual story. And then after that, there's got to be more. This might actually be the last arc that's going to happen in the TV series, especially since they've said they've got 2 movies coming up that are going to be canon. They've got countless Naruto movies, but none of them are canon to the actual series. The upcoming 2 movies will be. And I read the plot, and Naruto has control of the 9 Tails powers. It doesn't mention Kurama all that much, but I can't wait to see what happens. Naruto is easily my new favorite anime. Don't believe me? Well, it's the first anime that actually convinced me to, I can't wait for the English dubs. I'm going to jump ahead and listen to it in Japanese with English subtitles. That's how good it is. It got me to watch subtitled instead of dubbed. I'm still waiting for dubbed with, like I said in the last video, I'm still waiting for dubbed with Sword Art Online Season 2 right now. Season 2 is already out, all in Japanese, but I'm just watching it weekly on TV. I might hop ahead with One Piece, because One Piece is a close second as far as long animes go. Short animes, yeah, like, I'm totally into Sword Art Online, but that's short. Blue Exorcist was another good one, and if you want to hear about that, that was in my last video. A lot of the shorter ones, I can catch on TV in a long time, but these ones that are 100 episodes, like, One Piece is like 600 episodes long. And just so it doesn't seem too far off, Naruto Shippuden is 415 and running, and that doesn't include the 180 something of the original Naruto series. So they're close. But anyway, I'm thinking next, I guess I'll have to jump ahead. I know the character voices are annoying, but I was able to get used to Naruto Shippuden in subs. Maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to get used to One Piece subs. Well, if you excuse me, I happen to know that tonight is that night. 2 episodes left. One of them comes out tonight. One of them comes out next Friday night. Oh, and if you have any anime that you would like to recommend I watch, I am definitely looking for new anime now, because really One Piece is all I've got right at this point. Dragon Ball Z, Naruto Shippuden, and Kill la Kill and Sword Art Online, as I said, watching on TV. And then the Naruto is online, actually. And then One Piece online. I'm considering Fairy Tail, Code Geass, and Fate Stay Night. I'm not so sure about Fate Stay Night. I hear good things about Fairy Tales. I still have to investigate Code Geass. Other Dragon Balls, maybe. Gundams, that's more of my brother's thing. When he was a kid, that was. Appleseed, I don't know. My friend recommended that, but if you have any along the lines of Naruto or anything, I realize Naruto and Bleach, which I mentioned in my last video, they're both Shonen Jump. I like Shonen Jump anime, yeah. Well, I'm going to stop this video before it screws up like my last one did. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're not an anime person, why did you watch this? Or if you're not an anime person, and any of the descriptions I've given you from the last video or this video, especially the one of Naruto. Naruto is great. I say try the Naruto series in English dub. If you like it, keep watching it. And then if you like Naruto enough, move on to Naruto Shippuden. Because trust me, that Kurama character is one of the... Kurama is easily my favorite character. You know, anime actually has a bit of an influence on me. Because I have a future idea. As we speak, I'm actually writing my own movie. Now, the movie it's realistic fiction. And I don't want to say too much about it. However, should it be successful, and should I ever get a successful career someday as a writer, and people could trust me with more money, I have a higher budget in mind that would actually deal with, well, werewolves. Except they would be called man-wolves, and I can't give you too much of it, except that it would run. The plot would run very much like an anime would, despite being live action. With basically, I wouldn't. Although it's live action, I wouldn't be scared to do anything that an anime would do. And you know, like Teen Wolf, you can watch Teen Wolf. I can't really get into. I watch it. It's okay. It's interesting. But it doesn't have that story and character that an anime has. That's why I love it so much. The story, the characters, love them or hate them, they're great. And like I said, there are plenty of times, like I've said in the past 2 videos, there are plenty of times where it changes. Your hate turns to love, and your love turns to hate. That's Kurama in a nutshell. He turns from hate to love. Maybe not love, maybe love's a little strong, but he calls himself hate. He literally calls himself hate in one of the episodes. Now, I didn't upload any videos of it because I don't want this video to be copyrighted and to get a bad rap on my account. But if you look up, I'm sure you could find videos of Kurama, and just to give you an idea, of just how deep characters can get. Naruto is the deepest characters, I would argue, of the animes that I've watched. There are close calls, like with that Blue Exorcist character, yeah. But, Naruto. Alright, well, I'm gonna call it a night. That, my friends, is anime in a nutshell.